Hey folks, welcome back. This is Chris in England, near the end of my trip for the Women's Rugby World Cup. News breaking today from the trial for those accused of stealing the $580,000 in U.S. cash stuffed in furniture at the Phala Phala Game Ranch back in 2020, something we only became aware of a couple years ago. And there's all kinds of questions about this. Of course, Parliament cleared Cyril Ramaphosa of any wrongdoing. Of course, the less than interested South African media failed to recognize, or political parties, that they cleared him of ethics violations in Parliament. No one cleared him of a crime. And I'm not saying he committed a crime, but there are a lot of questions here about the perversion of the means of justice, using the state security forces to collaborate with Namibians to kidnap or extradite these folks back, and then the claims of torture they claim that these people did to them. Also, $580,000 in money. The manager, the first state witness, said that yes, the president was aware of it. I told him about the money. They knew about that Christmas Day the money was delivered for $580,000 and then put in the safe. And the guy went on vacation, and at the end of the month, end of December, he put it and stuffed it in the furniture. And then it wasn't until 10 February that he found out there was a problem when they contacted him. So why wasn't the money put in the bank from December 30th, December 31st until February 10th or 12th? There's all kinds of questions here. Not to mention there's customs and immigration violations here, carrying that kind of cash in. You're limited entering South Africa. I think the total's 25 or 30,000 Rand cash is all you can bring in. And you can bring dollars too, but not that much. So $580,000 clearly violates that. Was this reported to SARS, this income? As far as that, we don't know. How many times has this thing sort of happened? Why are people not interested in asking these questions? President Ramaphosa has never been subjected to, or the Phala Phala situation, to our knowledge, never been subjected to a Hawks criminal investigation for criminal activity. By all accounts, there appears to be a great deal of criminal activity involved here. Whether someone did on behalf of the president, whether he was involved or not, these are all legitimate questions. Why aren't inquiring minds asking these questions at News 24, at the IOL, at the Daily Maverick? They seem to be very interested in investigating, the Amerikaners, or investigating, people who want to go to the States as refugees, or misleading people about Trump's refugee program. But they seem very disinterested in investigating the president of South Africa. Phala Phala is a huge scandal that has been allowed to be papered over by the media and by political parties. What's going on here? Why aren't people interested in this? Were these people tortured? They stole the money. Why was the money not declared to customs? How was this man allowed to fly in the country and have suitcases full of money? And if he had $580,000 he can hand over to buy 40 cattle, how much money did he actually import to South Africa in that case? That's not allowed. You have to declare that money. You have to pay taxes on a certain amount of money after you go over the threshold. And not to mention, the South African Revenue Service should know about that $580,000 income. It shouldn't be stuffed in a mattress somewhere for 6 weeks. What kind of crap is that? The whole thing smells rotten. I think it's time for polygraphs for these people, just to see how many people are telling the truth. And also, it's time for the media to start holding the president of South Africa to account for Phala Phala. It's time for the political parties to start holding to account. Why aren't they? Why is this just papered over and ignored? Are you curious about it? I know I'm curious about it. If this has happened one time at Phala Phala 5 years ago that we just happened to find out about, has it happened more often? Does it happen frequently? Do people, as a matter of practice, fly in and hand hundreds of thousands of dollars over to the staff that work for the president at his game ranches or his businesses? I mean, it's a fair question. I'm not making assumptions or allegations or statements to that effect, but I'm asking that question. An investigation, a genuine investigation, might uncover this. And if, in fact, that sort of activity is happening, this is not a person deserving to be president of the Republic of South Africa. Or am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe none of that's happening. I'm not claiming it is, but it needs to be investigated. And the public needs to be aware of it instead of sweeping this under the carpet. $580,000. Who takes $580,000 and stuffs in furniture? Pimps, drug dealers, gangsters? President of the Republic has staff that hide money in furniture? I mean, it's beyond the realm of comprehension. I mean, this is a scandal that should have had a government fall. Governments have fallen for life. Keir Starmer's on the verge of his government collapsing because he hired a guy who apparently was buddy-buddy with Epstein, according to the media. I don't know if that's true. And also another person who wrote nasty sexual things about the first black MP in Parliament. And his government's on the verge of collapse right now because of those two things. There's no crimes committed there. There's just association with people or saying things you shouldn't say, which might cause a government to collapse in the UK. Can you imagine that? But in South Africa, we have a credible situation of money laundering or failure to report stuff to the tax service, and I don't know if they're credible, but allegations of torture and perversion of the means of justice. And we do know for a fact that the South African Police Service committed fraud. They lied. In their annual report about the VIP protected residences, which includes Phala Phala, They said there were no instances of home invasions or break-ins, nothing at all in that year, in that time frame that they covered this break-in in 2020. Well, that's a lie. That's a lie. Because, in fact, this place was broken into. And so they covered up the break-in. Or they were unaware of it. Either way, SAPS is wrong. So, folks, what do you say about this situation? Is it time for a little sunshine to disinfect this mess? I think it is. Feel free to leave a comment behind. Appreciate it. Thank you, South Africa. Cheers.